Hey everybody, welcome to My Green Pets. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen you. We are coming to you from near Boulder, Colorado, and it is very cold outside. We've got snow today, and we're expected to get between 10 and, well, more than 10 inches of snow over the next week or so. So we kind of had a really quick fall and then went straight into winter. But today's orchid update is going to be about my Catasetums, and we're going to start out with this Catasetum Fong Sing. Look at the spikes. I really like the fact that the spikes come up and then they start arching over. Now, pictures on the internet that I've seen of this plant tell me that the flowers are going to be a red or a splotchy red color, which is interesting because the buds don't show any color at all. But I've seen other Catasetum hybrids that the color kind of comes to the buds right before they bloom, pretty much. But it's great. We've got 10 buds on one side, 8 buds on the other. Everything looks great, and the plant itself is actually still looking good. Stephen Van Camp and Lewis, who has been growing Catasetums for a long time, showed last week that some of his plants were showing signs of dormancy. Now, this plant has had one little leaf turn yellow and fall off, and that's kind of the remainder of it that we're looking at there. Another one of my Catasetums, this is the Cycnodes Wine Delight, put out a huge pseudobulb this year. And I challenged Marissa Koopman on Instagram to see if my plant would produce more flowers than hers on a single spike, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. For whatever reason, no matter how big the bulb was, this plant is putting out, it looks like there's 7 buds on the spike, which is still more than it's ever put out for me, but it just makes me wonder, my gosh, if the bulb is this big and the plant seems to be doing that well, why so few flowers? But you can see they're kind of coated with that telltale happy sap. Makes them look very pretty. This is my furthest along in terms of dormancy. This is the Mormodia Jumbo World. It's a cross between a Cloecia and a Mormodia. And it's already dropped several leaves, and but it has also got 2 spikes pushing out. Well, I think they're spikes. It's the one on this side that you're looking at is pretty pointy. And generally speaking, pointy things are not spikes, but this is the time of year that plant should be spiking. It also has a little nubbin kind of underneath the leaf bract, kind of hidden there, but you can see there's a round mass of green that's going to be pushing out soon. And that plant usually blooms around the winter solstice, so that's probably got 8 weeks or so of growing time before it blooms. Now finally, this is my last Catasetum type. This is a Fred Clarkara hybrid. And you can see it's got 1 leaf on it that's turning, so, you know, this is the onset of dormancy is coming on, so the plants are showing those signs. But I don't see any signs of blooming for this plant. I've been looking on either side, looking close to the base of the bulbs, looking at the bases of the leaves as well. And I just don't see any little bumps, so not sure what's going to happen with that one. Now, one plant that's definitely going to be blooming soon is this. This is Paphiopedilum villosum, and I got this plant as a seedling 5 years ago, and this is its first bloom. And it's not only putting out 1 bud, but in fact it's got 2 buds pushing out, which is amazing considering the abuse that this plant has taken over the years. It's been over fertilized, nearly killed, set back several times. It doesn't even have that many leaves on it, so hopefully this bloom is not going to be the end of that plant. There's another plant that's quietly in spike right now. This is Phalaenopsis schilleriana. And its flower spike actually takes about 5 months from the first signs to the final flower opening. And you can see that it's actually a really strong spike this year. The diameter of the spike is what I mean. It's a thicker spike than it has been in past years, and that is very encouraging because when the thing finally grows out, we might have a really, really nice display of flowers. Another plant that'll be blooming in the next month or so is this one, Bulbophyllum medusae. And it doesn't look like much from the top, but when you kind of get down towards the base of the pseudobulbs, you see, look at all these little spike buds pushing up. I call them spike buds, but yeah, their inflorescence is pushing out of the bases of the bulbs, and some bulbs actually have 2 pushing out. We actually see some growths as well, that kind of long snaky thing. That's actually a growth and not a new spike. But this looks like it's going to give us a really nice show. Now, last year, some of the spikes blasted for whatever reason, so that could happen again this year. But still, when it blooms, it is fantastic. Another Bulbophyllum, one of my favorites. This is Hal, the Echinolabium. And its spike, as you can see there, kind of at the end, it's kind of terminated its spike. It's done blooming, and Hal's going to work on growth right now. He's putting out 2 really big leaves, and this leaf was actually so big that it kind of came out wrinkled. But I'm thinking that as the leaf kind of expands, those wrinkles will disappear, and it'll just be a big, nice, wide leaf. The leaves on this plant can get really, really big, more than a foot long and several inches wide as well. Big spoon or paddle-shaped leaves, really interesting. Another Bulbophyllum that I hope is going to bloom this fall or winter is this one. This is Lovely Elizabeth. Actually, there's several Bulbophyllums all kind of packed into this basket, but the Lovely Elizabeth is the most dominant one. It's the biggest one, it's showing signs of something. If you look just at the base of that pseudobulb, you'll see like a little white nubbin just kind of starting to push out. Now that could be a new growth, but fingers crossed that that is the beginnings of a spike, and a few different bulbs are showing those. So if this thing blooms, it's going to be super nice. All right, over to the Cattleyas. This is a Cattleya rex. This is MGP01, the very first one that bloomed, and we've been working on it with rooting hormones for the past couple months. And as you can see, it has been adding new roots and continues to put new roots out. So fingers crossed, again, this plant is going to be okay. In fact, one of the roots you can see has poked out of its pot and is now seeking to go into another pot. So I'm going to leave those alone. This is MGP02, the second Cattleya rex to bloom, and it was pollinated with pollen from MGP01. So this seed pod, has been pollinated since August 6th, I believe. And I've been told they need up to a year to mature. So we're just keeping an eye on that plant and making sure it's healthy and getting plenty of water. A couple months ago, I received this plant as a gift from Next Growth. And I am super excited to say that this Stanhopea oculata is putting out a new growth. Always a good sign. And I'm looking forward to this thing getting big enough to bloom one day. Well, guys, that is it for this week's update. I hope that you enjoyed, especially seeing the Catasetums, because, we've been updating back and forth with the Catasetums all season, all year, from the time they were dormant in the spring to now when they're spiking. And this really is truly the most exciting time of year for these plants, when they really start to put out their flowers. And I'm really excited to see them bloom, because I think at least 2 of them I've never seen bloom before. So that will be exciting, and I can't wait to share that with you. Hope you guys are doing well with your green pets, and I will see you next time. So from Fantasy Orchids here in Louisville, Colorado, thanks a lot for joining me, and happy growing.